I would much rather have Soap on my team than Simba.
Yep. Yeah. If you had to go for a mantra sub, it would definitely be Soap, aka FC, over Simba, who of course was the substitute player for SBT at the midseason brawl.
So SOA deciding to take the map choice here, not going for first pick. This is something I'd like to see more teams do. The weird part, though, is they're taking ESTAR the Cursed Hollow. And why? Like, ESTAR have a 100% win rate, a 3-0 on this map.
And SOA's win, did you see SOA's win ratio? 18%.
Yeah, like 14, was it?
Yeah,
It was,
14 or 18. It was insane. It is one of the worst maps, but here's maybe a possible explanation, because they realize, okay guys, Cursed Hollow is one of our weakest battlegrounds, so maybe all they did over the last week or two was play Cursed Hollow in scrims and in Team League over and over again until they finally nailed that battleground and they now have it in their system. Let's find out which one holds to be true.
Let's find out indeed. A noob being banned out first. No webs flying across the map in this game. Going to be removed. Genji also removed. Been removed every game so far. Not had a chance to see him today. And by tradition, not Uther. Ariel coming in first. ESTAR pulling a leftovers and prioritizing that Ariel really highly. Right now, she's really incontested in a lot of regions, actually, with that Uther.
Absolutely. And FaZe's Ariel last game was definitely on point. Not only was he able to dish out those huge AoE healing numbers, but also the timing of his Crystal Aegis were just immaculate. Saving people over and over again, really making it super hard for ESTAR to kill anyone. And let's face it, ESTAR, they're known for their Valor play. They're known for their hard carries, double support style. So getting that Ariel in the mix is already so much worth it. And keep in mind, we're right now out of the battle, so no Ariel can get wrapped in some white fiber for now.
However, there is a big possibility of SOA just picking out all of those burst heroes that really require a cleanse. For example, they could have picked up... they already have Tahaka, who is great in terms of backline assassinating. If you really want to go for that style, the backline isolation can just ruin Ariel.
True.
You also have the opportunity, if they want to go for something like a Chromie, those heroes that just punish so well. We're going back to the old-fashioned style, the Tassadar, Ariel, Valor combo.
Yeah.
But once again, still no cleanse.
Still no cleanse. That is very, very true. So, potential counters to this Valor double support style is, of course, the Cassia. Cassia, we have seen many bans from those double support teams as a result, because, once again, the only real DPS source is Vala, especially during the later stages of the game. Most of the damage comes from her. If you have the Cassia in the mix, though, not only can you blind her, can you mitigate her damage, but you could also counter the damage fairly nicely as a result. Tassadar, of course, nice addition. They get rid of the Illidan because, let's face it, and there we go.
Yeah, nicely done by both teams. Very solid bans. Illidan so good with the Ariel Tassadar when you've got Valor gaining all that energy. Cassia, great counter to that Valor. It's called the Holy Trinity, but I'm not so keen on that name anymore, especially seeing as this particular Trinity is not the ultimate. This is just the double support Valor.
Exactly. So what can they pick here? More blinds would certainly be an option here. However, Oriel is normally one of those heroes that has a very nice blind, the Blinding Flash at 13. Johanna, like all the other blind heroes, have fallen out of the meta because they're not really that good anymore. Lily has received multiple nerfs. Johanna, other warriors just gain so much more viability that Johanna has fallen off a little bit. And Artanis, same for him. There isn't really a whole lot blinding left here, which is so sick.
There's a blind hero who we both seem to believe is potentially being a little bit underutilized and underpicked, who does technically have a blind. And that is Lucio.
True. No, they actually removed that talent.
They removed it?
The Heliotropics is no longer in his talent tree.
Blast, I thought I was being clever.
I was very baffled and confused as well when I saw that change, because I thought, it all happened when Lucio wasn't really played anymore in the first place. So not only did they nerf him to the ground, but they also gave him a good hit. So like, no, you're not even getting the blind anymore. Out with you. We've had enough of your music.
You knock him to the ground and he's like, okay, but
can I at least keep my blind?
Can I still blind people? No, not allowed. We're seeing Ragnaros here, a good follow-up burst for whatever tank they end up picking, and also great at counteracting some of those pushes if SOA is able to get a curse at any point.
Alright, this is looking pretty good for ESTAR in my opinion. So far the draft makes a lot of sense. I mean, Ragnaros is normally a hero that we're used to seeing a little bit more on the likes of Infernal Shrines, because you can dominate Shrines with your Molten Core form. It's not really the worst thing to have on Cursed Hollow either. And the Turtle, once again, that seems to be FZ's comfort pick, and they want to make him feel good.
Yeah. So here is that question. Are we going to see a Judgment Sulfura Smash, or are they going to take the Sanctification and use Tyrael as a second bit of protection against that hook combo?
To be honest, they could go for the Jaina here. Like,
they could.
I would love to see a Jaina. It worked so well in the previous set, and once again, no cleanse at all on the side of ESTAR. So once you're rooted, once you're getting slowed, you're done. And with the hook, with the stitches, with the Greymane, I think it would have some outstanding synergy. Wouldn't hate it.
I'd like Chromie as well. Both
Chromie
of those
too.
would be good. Either the two mages, even Kael'thas, just pick a mage. Any mage would just be really, really good here. No arguments at all. So let's see what they do go for. Even Li Ming. Whether Li Ming would be the boring pick. Tychus, not a mage, still good. There's not too much anti-auto attack here, so this is not hateable. This is completely fine.
Yeah, I think Tychus was probably a safer option here than a mage, because the main difference between those auto attackers and the mages is that the auto attackers are normally a little bit more mobile, whereas mages, as a result, because they have the higher damage numbers per se, they can really outdance their maneuvers. So, you know, the Tychus Odin still, we saw what it did last game. So much raw hitting power, so much zoning. I still would have loved to see a mage, though. Gotta be honest with you.
I agree. A mage would have been cool. Kael'thas, especially going for that Dignitas style. The hook into the Kael'thas stun would have been absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Would have been very nice to see. He's a little bit of, has a little bit of his own survivability. Has good poke. All of those mages would have had great poke for the objective. Of course, we know that Chromie is just exceptionally good against the against Ariel in general.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the Tychus, but it is a safe pick, and I actually think that that safe pick might be a problem for them. I'm not sure they're going to be able to use Tychus well enough to burst through that Ariel Tastar combo.
Fully agree. Also, if you keep the Battleground design in mind, right? Chromie would have had so many corners to hide behind. On Cursed Hollow, it's not really that easy to flank people because of all those hidden choke points. So yeah, but we're going to see what SOA can make happen with that Tychus last pick. Is Shy going to play him? Is Tank Over going to play him? We're going to find out very, very soon, as both teams are getting ready to be deployed on Cursed Hollow. Everything's on the line here for SOA. If they want to get 1 point out of this best of 2, they need to make it happen right now. But ESTAR, they played so well in game number 2. Really, really good execution of that double protection style. And now they're basically in their comfort zone.
Exactly, and ESTAR need these points. They are already 3 points behind Super Perfect Team and CE. If they are able to 2-0 this, then they put themselves in a good position of being 1 point behind the behind both teams, or tied with the second place team. If they are able to take the 2-0 here, because CE and Super Perfect Team play against each other last today, and they could either go 1-1, meaning that ESTAR will only be 1 point behind them, or 2-0, meaning that ESTAR will be tied for second place, meaning they have the best chance possible of going to BlizzCon, and before that, the Eastern Clash.
Alright, Cursed Hollow it is. Both teams have entered the arena, and on the left-hand side, in the blues, you see ESTAR. Once again playing with their substitute player, FZ. Fantastic tutorial performance so far. China #1 on the Ariel, good on Vala, Kid on his Tassadar, and last but not least, Ooze on the fiery Firelord Ragnaros.
Whereas looking for a nice little point here to ruin ESTAR's chances, it is going to be start over against SOA with Faye on Uther, Uncle D on Tychus, Tank Ovo on Dahaka, Spark BZ on Stitches, and Shy is playing the Greymane.
Tetcher, I like what I'm seeing here by ESTAR. I think Ragnaros in general is a hero that oftentimes gets overlooked. I know that he has received multiple nerfs, but I still think his Sulfurious Smash has so much combo potential especially with a Judgment, maybe. Like, we have seen that kind of playstyle. However, there's an Uther on the enemy side. So what do you think is going to be the respective playstyle? Full aggro or a little bit more careful? Oh, hey, well, hold on a minute.
They found the hook trap! They found the hook trap! That's alpha level strategies there. Sorry, I completely forgot your question.
No problem. We could just skip over it because that hook was brilliant. Not only, I think it was Spark BZ. There we go. Spark BZ, not only did he get the perfect location for that hook in that narrow horseshoe where Vala couldn't get out of, he also was aiming, like he was facing his body towards Tyrael the entire time, and everyone thought that Tyrael would be the hook target, but then he just turned around 90 degrees and hooked that Vala. I'm not even sure if it was a blind hook or not, but he just went for it, Hail Mary, and they found the target. Such a cool hook. So cool.
Okay, so I have a personal relationship with these kind of hook traps, the horseshoe on this map, these little things.
Yeah.
It was the first video I released in Heroes of the Storm that actually got really good views, where I basically went like 20 games focusing only on getting people hook trapped on Stitches on every single map, and I found every spot, and that's one of my favorites in terms of the objective as well. Currently, see here, the Valor Ariel, 71% on the win rate, hook this time not landing, but that is still first blood going over to SOA. I would also like to shout out, because we didn't have the chance to look at it here right at the start. ESTAR did something amazing, even though they did actually get killed off in the end. They didn't 5-man group mid, and Dread would be so proud here, because Dread and Grubby would be so proud here, because eventually, at some point, one team has to realize that they won't win the 5-man. At ESTAR, at this stage, without their cooldown reduction for Ariel, without their heroics, etc., they would not win that 5-man. They would just be putting themselves at risk of giving an extra person to hook so that Stitches could get a burst. Instead, they split up to lanes, scouted the rotations. Unfortunately, they did get caught out in the end, but they did the correct thing at the start, and that shows good game sense.
Now, Chinese production here on point today, 75% win rate if Uther gets paired with the Stitches. So really, really cool to have this additional insight, and it really shows that pro teams, well, I'm not actually sure if they do it, or I don't have certainty, but I would assume they would, that pro teams are using these statistics as well. And sometimes you can actually approach games like Heroes of the Storm from a very mathematical point of view. Like, you take likelihoods and you take probabilities into account. That traditionally, Uther and Stitches seem to be doing pretty well together, so if we go to a draft and it makes sense, just go for those two.
Vala cancelling the channel there, not willing to get hooked, even though Kid was actually body blocking that opportunity. They're just playing it extremely safely. Entertainment Strike pushing Stitches away here. It is 4 versus 4. Rag and Dehaka still staying in the bot lane. Remember, Dehaka could rotate up a little bit quicker here.
Yeah. Dehaka, of course, has the superior speed when it comes to reinforcing that fight. For now, though, both teams seem to be content with, you know, just playing the stalling games, getting some skirmishes in without committing too much. Hooks don't land now. Spark BZ is also running dangerously low on mana. And that, of course, speaking of mana, is the big advantage of Oriel in your team. She does not require mana. As long as your Vala is in good shape. Oh, never mind. Speaking of being in good shape, Good is in trouble here.
Cocktail? The Cocktail probably would have got the kill thanks to that Tash shield anyway, but it still does chunk a little bit of damage. Both these teams still fighting over it. Fountain's getting popped for both teams every now and again. Little sneaky channel attempt here by Tyrael, denied by the Holy Shock.
Oh, this time the hook landed. The stun follow-up is good, but Good is still in pretty decent shape.
Dehaka has arrived, though. They are committing to this now. The Dragon yet to be used. They're timing it as best they can. Thanos already been used and missed. Looks like it was used and missed, because he should have used it there. As they are retreating. Shine, a little bit of danger. Jumping to the Valor.
Winning a 4 versus 5.
Tank just able to survive here. And they're trying to turn it around to grab the Tyrael. They don't. Instead, it is Tyrael who turns around and gets the kill onto Dehaka.
Worst case scenario here for SOA. Not only did they not get a kill, which they needed to, otherwise that full commitment by Dehaka would have not been worth it, they also lost a team member and they didn't get the tribute. So they lost a 4 versus 5, they did not get the objective, and Dehaka's gank was in vain. It couldn't have gone any worse.
And
they lost XP, yep.
He only rotated a little bit just to see if he was like, maybe I'm needed. Realized he wasn't, stayed bot, and kept pushing. So he's got both towers, I believe, in that bot lane, giving his team a huge boost XP, and as such, full level lead for ESTAR.
See the Holy Shock coming in by Uther, by the way. I think it was used to harass during the tribute as well. I'm still not sold on the talent. I think...
I like it. He can get some good damage. So the extra range from the level 1 talent as well could help.
Okay, that can certainly help. Like, the synergy between the 1 and 4 is definitely there. Now, Uncle G, he goes in. They know that the gank from Dehaka is about to happen. The Entertainment Strike not landing. Can they get the kill on Good, though?
Yeah, Valor, interesting strategy there. Didn't work out in the end, but realizing if I go back, the hacker's going to get me.
Yeah.
So I might as well just commit, try to kill Tychus, and give myself the best opportunity of either winning the fight or escaping if possible, and give Ariel as much energy as possible. Cool strategy. One that we don't see, I think, enough, where you're like, okay, so I can't go back, let's go in. It's the best route, it's the least expected route.
Oh, horseshoe!
It's wrong target, but yeah, no one on the other end. Tyrael as well, able to Elder and fight out.
Yeah, easy escape here. Now Shy in trouble. Takes a lot of damage actually by that Tacit or Tickle Beam. Well, let's face it, we should probably get rid of the expression Tickle Beam by now, because once you complete your Templar Swirl, it actually starts hurting if you stand in it too long.
Man, I don't know if you've ever been tickled for a long time.
No. No.
Let's be honest. So Ooze is going to pick this up for ESTAR, giving them 2 tributes to 0 right now. They're in a great position. Now, unfortunately, the next tribute will not be spawning until way after they've had their 10s, so they aren't able to capitalize on that particular timing. Instead, they're using their Intimate 10s, I pronounced that terribly, to try and pick up a boss.
Yeah, I like this boss timing because normally, like, you can't take bosses when the curse is live or while the curse is live, because you would be wasting a lot of momentum and a lot of potential value from destroying buildings. But taking it right before the 3rd tribute is oftentimes a really good choice here, because the enemies are then going to be forced to either defend the boss and give up the tribute, or take the tribute, or at least fight for the tribute, but lose a lot of structures by the boss. And SOA just too late with the rotation here too. They even did ESTAR a favor. They were like, let's actually take 20% off that boss for you, and you can then finish it for us. How nice of you. Yeah.
ESTAR are committing to this. It's still risky. Even with heroics, they have everything available, though. They have sank. This should 100% be going on.
Oh, that's a good one, though.
Finds the Valor. That's how you capitalize on this. Now they can move in, but they have to be so much quicker than they're being. The boss will be taken, but can SOA pick up some kills? They're moving in from both angles. Aegis is dropped. Tyrael able to escape. Guys, Ariel, see her. She's not getting away. Ooh, is able to get a sneaky paw out of there. But Ariel is getting chased all the way around, using the boss, tanking the fort to give herself a way around. Camera, please. Ariel is finally dropped. She tried to wrap around that area, but she gets killed off. But the double boss now pressuring onto SOA, and they're being denied the tribute. ESTAR not letting up the pressure, even with Ariel down, because there's still 2 heroes at the top lane for SOA. They still have the numbers advantage.
The range on that Endurance might just too short. Didn't really reach Shy, who was channeling all the way. So, okay, not everything is dark and gloomy here for SOA. Of course, they lost 2 bosses. However, they got a couple of kills in return. And, more importantly, they denied the curse from happening for ESTAR. Because what is worse than 2 bosses? Well, 2 bosses that push in while your team is cursed. That is pretty much lights out then for at least one of the keep here. But ESTAR's insane performance so far, really making it extremely hard for SOA to get any value. Gotta give credit to Spark BZ though on this Stitches. There were a couple of really good hooks in there.
There were a couple of good hooks in there indeed. So, we are the hooks have been solid. They just need to capitalize on them a little bit more for now. Spark BZ already moving in. There is an FZ chilling around.
Oh, they're trying for it once again.
They want it. Are they blocking this time? Are they going to body block the other end?
No, no, they took too long. No.
They took too long, and there's no 16. Enemy team was too far away. So many things were wrong with that. It was not worth the risk. So they decided against it.
Oh, that's a good target too.
They look for Rag. They get him, but they don't have the follow-up. Even the force wall drops to prevent any kind of follow-up.
And look at that choke point. Now they're basically caught between a rock and a hard place. They can't go through that choke point, but they have to at some point if they want to contest the tribute from getting taken here. Nice holy shock. That was actually worth it. Definitely keeping Tyrael at bay for now. And oftentimes what you want to do is you want to try to actually take the long way. You want to take the detour around your middle fort just to get into a better angle on a safe way. Now, okay, they're brute forcing their way into. Stitches gets punished immediately.
Yeah, Stitches gets completely blown up, turning it round. Sanctification is dropped as they push in. The good Sulfurous Smash, and BZ stays alive, getting his Devourer off, but Faye is not so lucky. He's going to turn around. Not dropping the healing onto Tank Over, because Tank Over is too far away. Tank Over now trying to keep himself alive with his own essence, as Shy is getting healed up by Uther. Tank Over will drop here, and this is going to be a minimum of 2 for 1 going over to ESTAR, and they will get the first curse of the game.
And the positioning here for this very curse or tribute location is so tricky. Now, you saw that ESTAR was actually abandoning, or not really abandoning, but falling back a little, not channeling all the time. So the moment you saw that Turiel went back to the bush and ESTAR just kept the distance a little bit more, what you should have done is, whoa, in the meantime, oh no, come on.
Yeah, dear. Not a play. Oh, he's alive. Well, sure, well, we complained a bit there, but he got out, so well done, Ariel, able to escape.
Yeah, you wanna be a little bit faster with the Curse Bullet, or you wanna be a little bit more patient, and Shy is not having a good day here. He gets out. Never mind. Good just says no, denied, and yeah, they're gonna take the game here.
Strafe doing crazy damage. Hook lands onto Valor, who immediately turns around and uses that extra distance to try and kill Tychus, but is not able to do so. They are spending quite a lot of time killing off the fort here. Uncle G will make it to his base, does survive, but now the core is under duress. Here comes that rag bolted core to try and finish it off. Even drops his heroic onto the core, and they're going to try and burst it down here. Shield is down. Curse will be expiring very shortly. It's going to be Stitches getting dropped here. Tigers falling as well. The Molten Swing, and the core is dropping. Sanctification to keep them alive as they focus it down. This is almost certainly going to be a GG, and ESTAR will take game number 2 and those delicious 3 points, moving themselves up towards the top of the table, and at least creating some distance between them and everyone behind, making it more likely that they can make it to the Eastern Clash as 3 teams go to that.
Really well played by ESTAR. They just capitalized on every single mistake that SOA made, and once again, unfortunately, they made a couple too many. Especially in that last tribute fight, you could see that they weren't really on the same page. They split themselves up too much, then they brute forced their way through that narrow choke point. And, you know, ESTAR was just in position. They had a concave. They could fire at them from all the angles. And from there, it was just an easy ride with that curse getting activated. So ESTAR playing the map, playing their team comp, and forcing a couple of mistakes out of their opponents. Overall, an incredibly solid performance. And as Tetra said, they're now closer, well, once again, as close as they can be to CE and SPT, who are, by the way, going to face each other at the end of the day. So we're saving the best for the last here.
We are indeed, but we do still have one crazy series going to be coming up very, very shortly. And that is going to be KT versus RPG. We were touting this as potentially the most aggressive series of the day, and there's a reason for that.